Hello again. Welcome back to another week of A Photographer Talks. This week, I'm going local. I've managed to find a photographer who lives 10 minutes down the road from me, but we're going to do things slightly different, and I've brought him into my home. So, let's see how it goes. Growing up in Bath, in the southwest of England, which is where we are right now, James discovered that he quite fancied and quite liked the idea of taking pictures when he was in the south of France using his father's Practika at the age of 13. Wind forward a number of years and he found himself working in the darkrooms of the Bath Chronicle and Bath Evening Chronicle, and from there he moved on to work for the Solent News in Southampton. EMAP, the UK's largest magazine distributor based in Peterborough, called next, and he spent 3 years pretty much earning his sporting stripes, flying around the world, shooting some of the world's most newsworthy and sportsmen and events. Since 2000, he says he has hiked in the Andes, he's shot into village fist fights, crossed the Sahara, and travelled around our planet shooting Hollywood stars, reportage, sports and commercial ads. Please join me in welcoming James Cheadle to my lounge.
Hey Charlie.
Hello. We are in fact 1 metre, quite literally apart.
Leaning back in our chairs.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'm going to move. A bit. So
I'll come out the frame if I move anymore. So
hopefully, likewise. Thanks so much for joining me. Isn't this mad? I'm normally spending the entire time staring at a computer screen to see somebody's face. So this time I'm having to look at a face.
Bringing back 2019.
Oh my God! Yes, quite. So it's been a pretty tumultuous year, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. A few quiet months this year. Getting back to normal-ish, I'd say, but yeah.
Well, this is the
been a funny one.
This is the last time that we will be able to do this for in the UK anyway, for a month.
Of course, tomorrow all changes.
Maybe a bit more. So we thought we'd grab the bull by its horns and go live.
Yes.
Go personally live. So have you been busy?
Well, since July, I've been fairly busy. I've even had a foreign shoot in Italy. Not for a couple of months. That's back in July when everything opened up.
Oh yeah.
And then I've been up to Wales. It's been.
Oh yeah, I saw you racing, shooting some racing cars on a track recently.
Up at Anglesey, lovely job. I can't really say what it was because it's still embargoed. But yeah, lovely shoot that was for TV. It's been getting back to normal, but we'll see what next month brings because after tomorrow, it all goes back.
It does. Lockdown. Yes, it does. It's a bit strange.
Yeah.
But let's not dwell on that too much. We'll come to it. I think it's good to have pose your question at the end of the interview about COVID. But let's crack on and talk about your work.
Cool.
So the first shots, I've made a little selection. I feel that you are very much the portrait guy. You've got some fantastic images across your portfolio, your Instagram portfolio that we talked about previously, the modern website, the modern portfolio, no more big leather-bound books. So I've made a selection from the selection you passed over to me, and I thought the best place for us to start is Sean Conway. So Sean is a crazy guy from New Zealand. No, not New Zealand. Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zimbabwe. Who I personally met about 15 years ago as a photographer in London, and he since then has turned into a wild adventurer around the world. And author, yes. 4 books now, is it?
I've got a kids' book out this month, I think, or last month. So it's prolific.
I saw that he's definitely turned a page from when I met him, and he's grown one hell of a beard.
Yes.
So you had the great pleasure to shoot him.
I've shot him a number of times actually, but this was the first time I shot him. This for Discovery Channel. I think he had a show where he ran the length of Britain. which is no mean feat. I mean, what's that? 700 miles. I think?
720. I think it was when I looked on his website.
John O'Groats to Land's End, 100 miles a day.
That's just insane.
and actually, weirdly, I do blame Sean for my bad ankles.
Oh, really?
Because he inspired me to run a half marathon every day for a week.
Oh.
And this is back in 2017, I think, 16, I can't remember now. And they've never been the same since, my ankles. Tendonitis in both of them, so Sean.
Oh, that's evil. I mean, I have to say, I don't quite get where he gets his energy from. You know, I mean, he's the shoot that you did here of him springing. I think this
Eddie
sums
Van
him
Halen,
up.
isn't it? Yeah. No, he's great. He's such a great fun to shoot, Sean. And he's just, I don't know, he just has these ideas. Like he's cycled from, what was it, the sort of southern of the Iberian Peninsula up to somewhere near the Caspian Sea. I don't know. He goes all over the place, and he's done a triathlon around Britain. So he ran up to Scotland again, around the coast, and then he cycled up to Scotland, John O'Groats, then ran down to Essex or Kent, and then swam round to Dorset. It's just
as you do. Yeah.
I know. On all
but
solo.
he's made a great career out of it, and to shoot him, is he kind of happy to do anything?
Oh, he's great. Yeah, I mean, considering we were often meeting him stages, so you think he'd be tired, but he wasn't. He's just full of energy. Just do whatever you want. Just give you all the time you need.
Was he exhausting to shoot?
No, not really. He's just really helpful. But I think he has a background in photography, which I think probably is where you come in, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so maybe he's a bit more sort of sympathetic to the challenges you have as a photographer. So whereas some people might just think, oh, just take the picture. Sean's he knows, isn't he? I think he knows it takes a bit of crafting and a bit of sort of manoeuvring. So he was happy to help out. Yeah, he's good, very good.
That's funny. He's definitely got a face of interest, and the thing I find very amusing is when I knew him 15 years ago, whatever it was, he was he was actually sort of hair similar to us, no beards, and a very kind of clean guy. So when you've got a subject like that to work with, it's even more outrageously exciting, isn't it?
I mean, that's what you want. You want someone like that who's enthusiastic, full of energy, with a great big, what do you call it? I guess Brian Blessed style beard on him. So.
Exactly.
No, he's brilliant. No.
Did you cover him in mud in that shot?
Yes. Well, there was the makeup girl covered him in mud.
No way!
Yeah.
Really? Okay, I'm going to have to put that back on, because actually that looks like he's just come off the back of a sort of a wild run through the fells of
I think it was
Wales.
somewhere. It was in a park in South London, from memory.
No!
Yeah, and it was we were shooting the promo for his new series. So I think that was it. That was him just smearing his face in mud.
There you go. That's the power of photography. You just told a complete lie. You fooled even me. Outrageous. Great. Well, look, from one completely crazy guy to I think possibly Britain's best nutter, who's sadly not with us anymore. Now, I used this picture on the marketing, and I think actually, I mean, I grew up with The Prodigy. I know all their work, and I love it. And obviously he died recently. It was last year, wasn't it?
I think it was last March, around that time.
Which is super sad. Very, very sad. But I think that picture struck out to me when I was looking through your work. And this is one from that set of your Keith Flint shots. Now, what was this for? Was this commissioned?
This was commissioned by, and this won't mean anything to international watchers, listeners, but there was a magazine in the UK called Loaded years ago.
Oh yeah,
it was quite infamous, prolific. I don't know how you. It was a revolutionary magazine because it kind of changed the entire men's mag industry back in the 90s, but for good and bad reasons. Let's be honest. They normalised kind of the sort of glamour girl thing, but they also brought in great reportage and stuff. So they sent me to photograph Keith. I think it was at Alton Park race course, because he was a mad racer, bike racer. So he was part of an endurance series in the UK, which was 1000cc sports bikes. I think he was on a GSXR that day, which he won, and he was a brilliant racer.
Amazing.
So the bulk of the feature was him on his bikes.
Okay.
But I had this opportunity to take his great portraits, which never got used. So
No
it's a shame.
way.
Yeah, so that shot was only ever been published by me in my own magazine. So, and it's a shame because from the day I got back and I thought, oh, these shots are great of Keith. But of course, the feature was all about his bike racing. So we had him on bikes, we had him in the pits and the paddocks, you know, with his leathers and stuff. But
oh man, that's a shame. Surely, I mean, would you be allowed to pass those out and syndicate them?
Oh, that'd be mine. Yeah, they are.
So then you're kind of a year's anniversary of his passing.
I think they maybe they got published when he passed away last year. I don't think so though, because there were some other shots in the set that were maybe a bit more face on, so of course for newspapers, and they were a bit more, I suppose, stock. Still Keith in
classic
kind of expressions and stuff, but that particular image, I don't think ever got used.
But so what did you do to get him to do this? Because knowing the Prodigy tunes, you know, I see that, and I kind of just hear this roar coming out, like in some of the shots. Did he fake that, or did he give you proper?
No, he did.
Prodigy?
He made the noise. Yeah, he was great. I mean, the funny thing is with Keith is I actually met him. I tried to photograph him in '97, a long time ago, 23 years ago.
Wow.
And I was actually at Manchester Indoor Arena covering a Prince Nassim fight. You know Prince Nassim boxer?
Oh yes, yeah.
He was fighting.
Oh, God, that takes back a few years.
Yeah, Vasquez. I think he was fighting title fight, and I bumped into Keith and Liam and Kermit in the, what do you call the bits at the back of the stands, the kind of the gantries at the back, whatever you call them. And I said, oh,
VIP areas?
Well, no, you know the bits where you get from A to B, so you come out the stands and you go around the side.
Okay.
Anyway, I bumped into him there on the bottom floor, whatever. I said, oh, Keith, can I get a quick shot? And he just turned around and went, F off.
No.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, just wandered back. And this is back in, I say, 97 it must have been. So it was interesting to meet him, I guess, 20 years later.
Yeah. And did you tell him that story?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
I don't remember that.
Don't remember that. I had a couple of beers.
But weirdly, on the day when I did shoot him, because I've always had a bit of a passion for bikes as well, you know, I could have spoken to him for hours and hours about just 90s sports bikes and MotoGP races that we've enjoyed and stuff like that. And, so it was nice to have a connection after all those years, because it was all. I mean, you haven't said it when he did say that to me back in '97. I thought, well, fair enough. It's Prodigy, isn't it? That's what they're like.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you should have said that back to him.
Yeah.
You know, all right.
There were 3 or 4 of them. I was on my own.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely didn't want to mess with the Prodigy back then, did you?
Yeah.
No, not really. I think he probably calmed slightly in his later years.
But then I think he stayed, well, I guess the expression would be he stayed punk to the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
Still racing bikes. So I think he ran the team the last 2 seasons as opposed to raced in it. Although he did win the title, national title. I think I'm right saying he definitely won a few races. But he's a character. Good old kind of sort of one of a dying breed, really, isn't he? That sort of slipping 2 fingers up to the establishment, no matter what. It's a shame.
Yes, true. Well,
R.I.P.
I think everyone's become a bit too clean, and he was definitely you certainly. You know, he was definitely not that type of person, and you showed that in this picture. I think that's what I love about it. I mean, it's definitely your sort of signature style as well, the sort of the darker look, and that plays extremely well into him. Yeah, you know, he was a hard nut, wasn't he?
He definitely suited the dark background and the moody lighting.
And that was just a standard background in a
I think
funny
that
location.
was in one of the. I think it was Alton Park. Actually, Alton could be Cadwell. One of the more northern racing circuits. Yeah. It was just a wall.
Cool.
Just a dark wall that went very grey, as it does when you don't have the light too close. But yeah.
Who needs expensive gear?
I know.
Right?
But the thing is, I think I did have a load of backgrounds in my car. But as you must know that sometimes people say, "Oh, can you do it now?"
Yeah.
And you go,
no chance to get anything.
So let's just grab one light. So I think I had 2 lights on him there, and then let's just go for it.
That's possibly the most important element of being a photographer, apart from being able to press the button, is be resourceful.
Yeah. I always say it's a lot of sort of pattern recognition has to go on. So you think, right, I've got to do this in 10 minutes. That's what I've been told.
Yes.
There's no way I'm going to get a background up in 10 minutes,
no.
even with an assistant. So you think, what do I do? And you revert back to something you've done 20, 30, 50 times before, and you go, right, one light there, just knock out the background. That's how it works. And but if it's your first time, you might have floundered around and gone, oh dear, what do I do?
Quite, and then you're still getting the background up, and then he walks in. Yeah. Oh God.
and I think I sort of knew as well that I wasn't there to shoot portraits. I think probably, if I'm being honest, the portrait shoot was for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Although they did use some of them in the magazine, but I think they were more worried about getting him in the pits and on his bikes and racing and action shots. But I just thought, no, I've got to get the portrait.
Yeah, you got, definitely got to get them in when you can.
It's like a big game hunter, isn't it? You've got to get that sort of tiger head on your wall.
Yeah.
Keith Flint.
He is definitely your tiger head, isn't he? Is he the most favourite person you've shot? Would you say? I mean, we've got more pictures to look at, but
it's funny because in terms, I've enjoyed his art probably as much or as more than anyone else that I've shot. But then it's people like Michael Palin as well. People who you think, yeah, God, the guy is just another treasure of the British treasure, and he's such a lovely guy as well. So he sticks in my head, and I've always found him funny, and I've always found him a gentleman. So very different people, though, aren't they? Really, Palin and Keith Flint. But yeah, no, it's hard to say. It's very hard to say. Different answers on different days if you ask me that question.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see what you say by the end of this then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So look, moving from one master of the music universe to another is Ian Brown.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned I grew up with the Prodigy, but I also grew up with the Stone Roses.
Yeah.
I mean, who didn't? Well, obviously, people younger than me, clearly.
Well, my daughter listens to them.
Really?
Yeah, she's 14.
There you go. Stone Roses is still doing it. Ian Brown, if you're listening, we'll make you listen. This is a cool shot. I mean, obviously he brought out remixes of the Spheres. Not recently, really. Actually, I was listening to it myself. It's about 10 years old now, but Stone Roses is classic.
It is, yeah.
And this is quite an old shot, isn't it? I think this was 2009. I think
it must be. I'm trying to think. I shot that in Chiswick.
Really?
Chiswick in West London, in a tiny cafe. And there was a magazine called Q, which I think closed this year, which was a bit of a classic, very long-standing British music magazine.
Yeah,
it was sort of our Rolling Stone almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much.
And the shoot was a drink with, and they would pick different artists. And this month that happened to be Ian Brown, but he wouldn't drink. I think he was going through a clean month or something, so it was just him and a coffee. There was actually another shot of him, because he was in Harry Potter, one of the Harry Potter films.
I didn't actually, but my daughter's really into Ian Brown, into Harry Potter now, and I discovered that he was in it.
Yeah, and he's there in the background just stirring. He's reading Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time and Space, and he's stirring his coffee with moving a spoon with his finger. So he set that up as well for the magazine.
I love it.
Which is a good idea, but because we're shoved in a booth in the back of a small coffee shop in West London, I was never really happy with it, because there's a wall in focus behind, and there's kind of the seats there. But yeah, we did that as well.
It's a very lovely shot. You kind of, again, back to your sort of master of the dark, but this is really, really kind of punching it down.
It's funny because it's a funny shot to look at, because I remember that week I bought these new lights. They were Elinchrom Quadras. This is going to get techie, nerdy stuff now. But I won't go into it. But they're tiny. And the idea was they're really portable.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this long conical light shade hanging down over the table. And all I was thinking was, that's a good softbox.
Stick one there.
So I had this thing going up into the light shade. So that's the light shade giving that nice soft light over with a flash inside the light shade. Just one light, because you couldn't put lights anywhere because it was so small, and there were people in there, and it was just,
That's a very slick trick, actually. Have you ever shared it with Elinchrom?
No, I haven't actually, no. But yeah.
Well, I think
I don't use Elinchrom anymore.
Oh no, you've moved over to the dark side, right?
Well, actually, what do I use now?
You use everything. You're brand agnostic.
Yeah.
Brand agnostic,
exactly.
Doesn't matter.
I just whatever works.
I use Profoto, Bowen, whatever. Yeah, whatever works.
I do actually.
No, it's good. I love the shot, Ian. I mean, it shows the simplicity of a single light.
Yeah,
right?
It does, and you can overthink it as well, because I've had shots when I've had big clients and I felt the need to make it look impressive with 5 lights and stuff. you know, and really expensive, fancy modifiers, and they work. You know, it can look great, but sometimes it's just the one light in the right place, you know, and the right person as well. Because to look at Ian, he's just got a very so recognisable, isn't he? He's him and Gallagher and a few other those sort of icons, Damon Albarn. There aren't very many that are that recognisable from the 90s. When you think about rock stars or pop stars, whatever you want to call them.
That's very true. Yeah, and they've stayed the test of time. Still very prominent.
Still relevant.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, makes you wonder who'll be relevant from today in 20, 25 years.
I have no clue.
You know,
I feel like I should know.
Ian Brown.
Yeah,
Liam Gallagher.
Yeah. They'll still be relevant in my world. Yeah, exactly. Keith Flint.
Well, it's funny. I did a shoot with Ronnie Wood last year, and Rod Stewart. And it's funny.
Amazing.
They were
They're
rocking
still
before I was
going.
born.
Yeah.
That's how mad that is. Yeah. So hope for us all.
Do you think? I'm not sure. I mean, you know, look if I look like Ronnie Wood at his age.
Look at his wife.
We'll cut that. So look, music is clearly a big focus of some of your work.
Yeah.
You've mentioned Q. You've mentioned Loaded.
Yeah.
And there's various other sort of superstars out there that you've photographed in the music game.
Yeah.
But someone who I particularly like your portraits of, we've talked about, we're both into our cycling, and James had the pleasure of shooting a man who kind of crosses the music and the sport metaphor, Bradley Wiggins.
Oh yeah, recently.
Now I have to confess I didn't check the IPTC here, so I'm not sure when you shot this, but he looks vastly different from the last time I saw him.
I would say that was at the beginning of the tour, so was that August.
Oh really?
August.
Okay.
No, September. It was late, wasn't it? Maybe it was September.
Yes, it was. It was later this year, of course. So this is a very recent piece.
Yeah, very recent. Yeah.
And who was this for? What was the deal here?
That was for GCN, you know, the cycling channel.
Oh yeah, based in Bath.
Yeah, well they now partner up with Eurosport and do the Tour and the Vuelta and the Giro coverage from a studio in Bath. Yeah, so.
And so he came here.
Yeah, I think the Vuelta's still going on, isn't it?
Oh, he tested me. I think the Vuelta. I think the Vuelta is going on. Isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't know. He might still be around. I'm not sure what the deal is. I don't really watch. I like cycling, but I don't watch cycling.
Yeah, I'm a little bit the same.
Coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably watch some GCN stuff because they're great. But but not there. I don't keep abreast of it. Not like I do football and sort of bike sports and stuff. You know, motorbikes. Yeah.
But so I mean, Wig here. You know, he's gone very hardcore tattoo.
He looks great, doesn't he?
He's got, you know, burly beard. I mean, he's bulked up. You know, like when he was at Sky, he was entirely different. You know, entirely different body and style. And obviously, when he left pro cycling, effectively, he became more of that sort of the mod dude.
Yeah.
And where is he now in the game? Like, what was he like? Because
he's great. He's a handful, but he's great.
He's apparently double personality, I think, or dual.
Yeah, well, he's lovely. I mean, he's very helpful and does everything. But he's just a character. He's just full on. You know, he's 100%. You can see why he was so great on a bike.
Yeah,
I think he's probably the guy that if he kind of dedicated himself to fencing, he'd be the world fencing champion. That's the kind of bloke that he is.
I've read something akin to that, actually.
Or cricket or whatever. I don't think he would have been a cricketer, but you know what I mean. That sort of thing. Whatever he's just single-minded.
And so when you went into the studio and you were like, right, we've got to do this.
Well, it was a hard shoot. It was everyone was there, so it was one of these shoots. Like I explained, lots of shoots. So many shoots are like this, which people don't realise unless they're in the industry.
Yeah,
they think you have a studio and you all turn up and it's cups of coffee and champagne, and often you're just told you got to do it over there in the corner of a TV studio or or whatever, someone's house, and you go, oh God, what am I going to do? There's no plain background. There's no. So that is actually cut out and put on a plain background.
Oh, cheeky.
Because we only had these horrible ruffled grey curtains to work with. And that was it. The rest of the studio was screens and wires and cables, and so yeah, no admission there.
Well, I think you did quite a good job on the cutout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So many shots I like that no one knows about. That's
Of course there are, yeah. Well, Photoshop with its AI stuff nowadays, good God, it's pretty incredible. But if it, were you going for the kind of the angry look?
No, that's just. It's funny. There are the shots, and he's got some quite comical faces on. That doesn't really suit.
Doesn't suit
my kind of
style.
What I think of Bradley isn't a guy pulling a funny face. That was how I see him. Focused. Yeah, 100% focused. Yeah, and I think he would like it more as well.
Did he have a look on the shots?
No, it's all too rushed. I think he was due to go on air about 5 minutes after we shot it, and we had to be out of the studio because, of course, the soundtracks and everything else.
Yeah.
So it was 10 frames.
Well, it's one of those classic tight turnaround, quick, no time, get the shot done.
And of course, there wasn't just Bradley. There were a few other presenters who needed shooting as well. So it's kind of a good conveyor belt of people.
Do you ever get to pass the pictures over to the people or get any feedback from them?
I don't know. I don't think Bradley would. I mean, at the moment, he hasn't. No, I mean, that's probably the first time I've shown the image, actually, because the client didn't actually use that one in the end. He used other shots of him on the sofa where the show was being shot.
Yeah.
So this was stuff. I think they were all cut out and comped or something. I can't remember what they did now, but yeah. But I will. I always tweet people or tag them on IG when I put Instagram. When I put them on, so he'll see it at some point. It's funny. Some people really like them. Like Sean's always really good. We go back to Sean Conway.
Yeah.
I think he's got an understanding of the job, hasn't he? But I don't know. Some people don't really. They care. They don't care. Then they get an email from an agent saying, "Can we have these pictures?" And
yeah, I guess. Well, they've already made their mark, so to speak, haven't they? In a way.
Yeah.
And you're whilst you've obviously made your mark because you're shooting all these types of people. You don't feel the need to kind of maybe punch it out there in the same way.
Yeah.
If you were in their position, if you had the cult following that Bradley Wiggins does or Keith Flint does.
It's really hit and miss. I'm trying to think. There's some big England rugby players, people like Joe Marler. You think, the guy, he's a big name for Quins and he's England sort of hooker, isn't he? I think he loved it. I sent him pictures and he was really into it. But then you could shoot somebody who's sort of just breaking into the sort of Wasps team.
Yeah.
Not interested. It's really, he does. I guess it comes down to their focus right there is maintaining their spot at a level and working up. That's all they see is their job.
Yes.
Someone like Marler's an interesting guy because I think he's got a wider perspective on things, and he thinks, I'll have that. Can you email it to me or whatever, or can you send it through? It's a real mixed bag.
It is, yeah. It's quite polarising, isn't it? Some people are really into it, and some people aren't. I suppose that's across the whole social media and the whole kind of marketing, if you will, in general. Some people suck it up, and others don't really. You talk about rugby. Moving on from Brad, obviously England had a pretty cool win last weekend.
Yeah.
And no better an opportunity to show Johnny Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Now that's
what
cool.
A legend.
Yeah, I mean, wow, he was sort of the man. 20 years ago, I think, pretty much. When did you shoot this? I think it was.
I'm trying to think of some Australians watching. The drop goal.
Yeah.
I mean that was 4 years ago, I think. At Penny Hill Park, which is where England trained, so he must have been there in some capacity. I don't know why he was there now. Oh, do you know what? He was there because he was actually conducting an interview on behalf of a magazine I'd still work for sometimes called Rugby World.
Oh yeah.
And there was the guy he was interviewing wasn't an England player. It was an ex-professional player, but he'd ended up in a wheelchair.
Okay.
No, it's the other way around. It's a guy in the wheelchair who was then working for Rugby World, had been an ex-professional player, and was interviewing Johnny Wilkinson. That's what it was. So Johnny must have been there in some sort of England capacity at Penny Hill Park. you know what? You forget all this after a while.
Of course you
Honestly,
do. Yeah,
it washes over you.
There's so many
Mm.
stories, effectively, and so many incidents.
But again, there's someone else that, you know, he's such a lovely guy, Johnny. But rugby players do tend to be very easy to shoot and
Yeah.
kind of helpful. But yeah, good guy.
Well, he's always been the sort of UK nation sweetheart, so to speak, isn't
Yeah.
he? Really.
Yeah.
This is obviously another classic of yours. You know, big favourite really is kind of lighting in the old masters sort of style. Where do you take any influences from?
Well, there's that classic Rembrandt style, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, with the little tricap. I think if he was probably to turn more to his left on the other frames, you would have had more of a Rembrandt-y style coming over the left side of his face. But he just looked that way in a nice shot. The light. He's got really good bone structure, hasn't he? He's just an athlete.
Yeah.
And I think at that point in time, I don't know if he still is, but he was just caning the gym. He's quite an obsessive guy.
The gym.
The gym. No, the gym's probably been the last 4 months, but he, you know, he would admit he's very obsessive over what he does.
Yeah.
So he's kind of
Most sportsmen are
yeah.
top end.
You,
Really
you don't
aren't
get
they?
to that level and go into something half sort of cocked. You have to be committed. But yeah, great guy.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
much like Wig and all the others in front of him, really.
Yeah.
Do you have any photographer influences that you sort of relate to? You know, you sit down and look at books.
Do you know what? There are people, and it's funny because it's a name that maybe not everybody would think of as being a really well-known photographer. I think he's.
Sorry, internet stopped. I can't tell you why. That's never happened to me before. Hopefully we'll come back on. Don't quite know what we lost. We'll put up Johnny again and see what happened.
Johnny's back. What can we say different about him this time? I was going to say, you know, the kind of influences. If you, I think I said Clive Arrowsmith went through the reasons why, but David Bailey, of course. And I say if you put a white background on some of these shots, they're not too dissimilar to how David Bailey would have shot. You know, with often a single white side light, softbox to the side. Sorry, no white background. I've just gone for dark background.
To mellow with his shirt. No, it's very true. There's also a bit of kind of an Avedon style in a way.
Yeah,
I would say with some of your work. So let's see. I'm not sure what's going to happen with our transmission there. Never happened, but hopefully we'll crack on and make good of it.
yeah.
Next shot that I've brought to the table is of Ricky Gervais. So here we've got. Well, he's very toothy, isn't he? It's almost like the lion. The lion that is Ricky Gervais.
I mean, we've all seen that smile before, haven't we? But he's a maniac, really, isn't he?
He is a maniac. I think, in fact, your laugh was actually quite like his laugh there.
Okay. I've stared at that picture too many times, but yeah, he's lunatic. He's fun. I don't think there's a bad bone in that guy's body, to be honest. He's just nice.
He is nice.
Helpful.
Guy, yeah.
Hard to control, a bit like herding cats, but
yeah, I can imagine actually. He's driving the creative on the shoot, I'd probably imagine.
Yeah, well, we did have a creative. I mean, that actual shoot, I think we were all ushered out of the studio. I forget where it was. It was up in Islington somewhere, and it's because he'd wrapped Carl Pilkington in a massive roll of background colorama and gaffer taped it, and we all had to run out the studio. Well, we weren't quiet, and then up and snuck out, and then Carl Pilkington's lying in this roll of background paper, wondering what's going on. He just, hello. And we're all just all peeking around the door. I have got shots of all this, but it's
that must have been fascinating because
thinking, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be doing a photo shoot. I've got another 20 minutes. We're still outside with Carl Pilkington wrapped in
uncontrollable subject.
Yeah.
So they made a little made a series, didn't they? Which he sort of caricatured, which was him and Carl. And
yeah.
I often wonder, like, to hear that inside story, I often wonder how their relationship really is, you know, kind of takes the living mick out of Carl Pilkington
It's almost
constantly,
like
but it sounds like that's just who he is in general.
bullying, but it's your little brother, you know?
Yeah.
Done with love, sort of thing. That's how. And Stephen Merchant was there as well, so I can't let him off the hook. He was to blame for the wrapping Pilkington in paper, but yeah, but they are funny, very funny. It's good chemistry.
Yes, you can see obviously why they've been going for so long together.
Yeah.
What was this for though? This particular shoot?
I think it was a magazine shoot. That.
Okay.
That one. Can't think who it was for now. I've shot them a few times over the years.
Yes, you have got a few.
So I did some shoots for the Science Channel in America because they bought the rights for An Idiot Abroad and The Bucket List.
Okay.
So I've shot him a number of times over the years.
And so the question is, has he recognised you as time has progressed, or are you?
Well, it's interesting because probably the last time was 8 years ago now, and I remember tweeting him afterwards only because I was in France and I found some Gervais yogurt and I thought it was funny, and he made a comment. That was my last interaction with him. So, but I mean, in 8 years, I imagine someone like Ricky's bet 10,000 people. So and probably 1,000 photographers. So you know.
Yeah, it's always you never know. I mean, I've photographed a few people a few times myself, and you kind of wonder genuinely when they're like, "Oh, hi," and they recognise you. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, I touched. Do you really recognise me?
It's that Hollywood thing of just saying, assuming you've met someone before, in case you've forgotten you've met somebody before. But there's that thing called Dunbar's number, where we all have a number of people that kind of programmed into us that we're able to remember.
I don't know this.
It's a theory that goes back to sort of Neolithic times when we lived in these small communities that most people have a certain amount of people they can remember names and faces of. I think it's something like 100.
Well, I think in that case, my Dunbar's number stopped when I was about 25.
Well, I think you can one in, one out it, so you can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can kind of lose information.
Cognitive therapy, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting because I did a shoot in a Hutterite community. Hutterites are like Amish people.
Yeah.
But a bit more. They use electricity and they brew their own beer and stuff like that. So I did a shoot in Canada with a Hutterite community. And they told me that as well. That's why their community is often limited to 100 or 120 people, because they figured that that's the maximum size a community can be healthy and productive. And over that level, you get this disconnect in a community. So when the community grows to a point, they send people off to start other communities.
That's amazing.
Communes, I think, is the term they would use. Yeah, it's interesting.
And when were you shooting this? Was personal project?
No, it was
travels.
It was another Discovery Channel shoot. So there's a girl called, Selena, I've forgotten her name. She's on Geordie Shore, and she had her own show where they would take her around the world and put her in these fish out of water situations. So she went to Japan and became a geisha. She went to Charlotte Crosby, and so she was staying with a Hutterite community in Canada.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and then we took her off to stay with some Inuits up in right near the Arctic Circle, which was interesting.
Wow, and when was this?
I think it was 2013 or 14. Yeah, I think it was. Because I remember flying back through Baltimore to do the shots of these street gangs on bikes, motorcycles.
Yeah.
I think it was around that time. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, okay. So it's a bit of a stretch away from the portrait game, isn't
I know,
it?
and it's funny when you even talk about travel like that now. It just seems, in current times, it's hard to imagine having to fly to New York and then fly to. I think we went to Winnipeg and then fly from Winnipeg up to Iqaluit, Iqaluit up to Igloolik, and then go back down to New York and then go to Baltimore. Just doing that now just seems.
Who's doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Some people apparently are, but I can't. Not many of us. I, for one, haven't been on a plane for almost a year. I think it feels like that.
It's funny. I think I went to Italy in July. Felt like a treat. I'm supposed to be going skiing in 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, well, in the garden.
Yeah.
In the
roller skis, with my wheels on.
Yeah, exactly. No, from one famous person to another. There's a cracking shot. I put it up on Instagram yesterday. Super legend. I tried to decide which quote to use as part of the post, but they're all they're quite harsh. Should I say?
Yeah.
So Mr. Samuel L. Jackson.
A lot of expletives in his quotes.
Now this is really recent.
Well, actually, I don't know if it is. I'm trying to think. That was for the promo for Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, okay.
So
I was looking at your IPTC data, and it said it was quite fresh, but maybe you had exported something new.
No, I went through a phase about 4 or 5 weeks ago where I was
remember
scanning old trannies and negatives
using your iPad.
Yes,
I remember seeing this.
but yeah, that must have been 2000. I know when that was. It was 2010, and it must have been August the 10th, because it was a week after my daughter was born.
And Snakes on a Plane. How on earth did you end up getting that gig?
Believe it or not, that was shot for a golf magazine.
What?
Yeah, because
that doesn't tally.
Because he's a big golfer.
Yeah.
And there's a golf magazine called Today's Golfer. Still a really good magazine, still going. And they used to do a feature where they would play around with obviously golf is golf, and it's nice to just keep it golfing but stray away from it. That was their idea. So to get a celebrity. They had all sorts. We had as a few other people later on in the magazine that I nearly shot for later on in the stack of images. Sorry, but yeah, he was a golfer, so they would just he could promote his film through the Golf Mag, which was quite a prolific magazine,
I love it,
a successful mag, and they get access to a big Hollywood A-lister. So we had other big stars. Well, I didn't do Alice Cooper, but they had Alice Cooper come through that feature.
Who's also a golfer. You can't really picture Alice Cooper on the
I
golf
know, it's
course.
mad, isn't it? Plays golf, no makeup. Plays golf.
Yeah, you never recognise him. That's probably why he does play golf.
But Samuel L. Jackson was funny because he has a full-time hairstylist following him around.
Right.
He hasn't got any hair.
To shine.
Yeah.
To remove the odd follicle.
I don't know what the girl does. I mean,
well, he's got a very perfectly nice shiny head, so
I think he
clearly says something.
He had some facial hair, but you can't see it because he's got his hand over his face. So. But he's great. He's funny. He's a funny guy again. I think also it was around that time that some of the Star Wars films were coming out as well, wasn't it?
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, those ones. So we had all these shots of him with his golf club, like a lightsaber, and it's quite funny. But yeah.
He's cool. He must have been a pretty groovy person to shoot, I'd imagine.
He was probably at the peak of his fame then. I guess you could argue Pulp Fiction was, but he was big then because he was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which all the kids recognise because,
of course,
Yeah. And of course, Snakes on a Plane, classic film. It's a genuinely good film.
I know, but it's just such a funny concept, isn't it? Yeah. But that was one of the quotes. Like I was looking through that. I don't recollect it, but the quote: "Snakes on who put these goddamn snakes on this plane."
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, clearly a big American superstar. I mean, you've done some big names, definitely, clearly, but I think the last image we're going to chuck up for the purpose of this conversation is super topical because right now it's the American elections and we don't quite know who's going to come out on top.
Trump or Harris? Who knows?
Is it going to be this man? That's the question.
Donald Trump.
My word. Now, obviously we go from Gervais to Samuel L. Jackson to Donald Trump. Now, this is obviously we've got the good golf hitch there and moving from one thing to another. And respect. It's a cool portrait.
He's a hard guy to shoot actually because his eyes don't open very much. He's got very kind of that John Wayne-y Western squint in his eyes all the time, which, as it makes it really hard to light somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the eyes are the focus. That's
and you can't get any nice glint off it either.
And the hat, because he's famous for his hair. Even this was shot. I think it must have been 2015, because it was probably about the month before he announced his running for the Republican Party nomination.
Okay.
But the hats are a problem, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a nightmare.
because especially
then you just get dark eyes.
Yeah, and lighting's a problem because shadows but yeah, he spent so much time with him on that shoot. I mean,
surely he must have told you how to shoot, because he knows. Don't tell me. What's his phrase? Don't tell me. I know better. I know better than everybody else.
Well, he was very good. The only thing I kept saying, Donald, can you push your hat up, just your peak up? He wouldn't budge on it. But other than that, he was very accommodating. And this is where I choose my words carefully, because everyone wants me to say, "Oh, what was he like? He was horrible." But he was actually really nice to me. And we met him at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. for breakfast briefly, and then we went out, because again you can see it's a golf shoot. It was shot up on his course up in near Aberdeen, which is on the east coast of Scotland, and he was just super helpful. Couldn't believe it. And then that's probably about the 10th tee. Probably somebody who knows the course will say no, but it isn't. But it looks down that coastline, which is stunning.
Yeah,
as you probably see, it's just. So when I got there first, so they played the front nine, and I met him there. I did 20 minutes of a shoot with him. Really tricky, because Scotland being Scotland in the summertime, there are midges everywhere. In fact, you can zoom in on some of this stuff and see thousands of midges all around him. And I thought when I got back, my sensor was just filthy, and I thought, bloody hell, it's just midges, covered in midges.
My God, really, that's insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just Scotland, isn't it, in the summertime? But then I walked in with them for the back nine.
Yeah,
last 9 holes. I chatted to him for ages, just about this, that, and the other. He was joking around with the writer, pulling like kind of little bunny ears over his head and stuff. It was a nice day. It was a really nice day. And then he kind of gets into the White House, and everyone goes, "Oh, what was he like?" I'm like, "Oh, he was all right. He was quite nice, but you're not allowed to say it now, are you? Everyone looks at you like you're a maniac." So it's
well, apart from Middle America, to be fair.
Yeah. That's true.
You look at the way the voters have landed. I think Middle America, you definitely have a lot of friends.
Well, last year, me and my family went on holiday to California, and we were on a doomed whale watching mission out from near Monterey. No, Pismo Beach, up the coast. Horrible. Everyone's been sick. No whales. Pea soup everywhere. You couldn't see more than 10 metres off the boat. But one lady just started talking to me, which was the last thing I needed, because I was going to be sick myself. And I stupidly told her, and it was the only thing to stop her talking to me, was that I said that I'd met Donald Trump and he was quite nice to me. And she said, "I'm not talking to you anymore."
Oh,
and just walked off.
Brilliant.
That worked.
Yeah, polarising.
It is.
In a big way.
In fact, the news today, I mean, this is going to be kind of time-sensitive stuff, but crikey, who knows what's going to happen this week.
Well, it'll be great. Well, we can look back on this interview in a week, in 2 weeks, in 1 year, and we'll all know, won't we? We'll all know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just focus on the picture of Donald for now.
Look into his eyes.
I love it. I mean, he's. I think that what I love about it so much is he's so prominent. He's right there. He's very proud, but clearly very relaxed with his stature, and he kind of knows. Yeah. He knows the score, doesn't he? He's been photographed a number of times. It's like
I hate to say it,
king of the world.
He's almost statuesque. If you look at him, his posture's bolt upright. He just stares you straight down the lens, and you take your shots. He moves around. He sits where you want him to sit, because there was a bench just off to his left, there, or actually his right. He did some shots there as well, but again, it's just his hat was playing havoc with my lights, and it looks like quite a bright day, but it was his typical Scottish summer's day, cloudy, so you need a sunlight to go in.
Yeah, quite. That's
windy as well.
That amazing sunlight that's lighting him. You mean that's not?
Yeah, that's not.
It's not natural.
Yeah, that's your pro photo.
It's not Costa Rica, is it?
Let's be honest. No. Which is I love Scotland. You don't see the sun very often.
No, you don't. No. So look, of all the amazing people that you've photographed over the years, is there anyone that stands out as a favourite, but also that missed opportunity?
Oh, do you know, there have been 2 missed opportunities that one, neither of my fault, by the way, but one was my fault. It was BB King.
Oh my goodness.
And I was busy at the time. And I remember I was really busy, and I had a call from a client. I won't name them. And they said, we've got a potential shoot with B.B. King in Bournemouth on the south coast of England, but we don't know what's going to happen. Do you mind going down there? And if it happens, we'll pay you. If it doesn't happen, we won't pay you. Now I would do that. A, I'd get to see him play live, but B, B.B.
King.
Whereas at the time I just thought, I'm not going to go away to Bournemouth. It's 50 miles from where I live. It's not very far. And I think it's just it's back in the days of magazine work, so you're just shooting 4 or 5 times a week. And I just thought, no, it was a Saturday night. I just thought, I'm doing it. And I thought, what was I doing? It was B.B. King.
What were you thinking?
I know, that was my fault. And the shoot did happen in the end. Somebody got to do a nice portrait shoot with B.B. King. And what was the other one? Lemmy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was supposed to shoot Lemmy in Vegas for the Gumball Rally.
Yeah.
I was covering that one year for Q magazine, and Lemmy was supposed to be doing an appearance somewhere, and it was going to be Lemmy. It's going to be a crazy night. It was a crazy night anyway. But Ian Astbury from the Cult, the goth band from who I've always been a fan of.
I was listening to them quite recently, actually.
Brilliant band. I think we went drinking with Ian Astbury at the end
of
the night, but he doesn't drink. So it was just me and the journalist thinking this is going to be great. We're in the Hard Rock Cafe in Vegas. And Ian
with
Astbury,
a hardcore rocker.
So spiritual. He's just banging on about ayahuasca and shamanism and all this sort of stuff. All I'm thinking is, I want some cult stories. But anyway, Lemmy was supposed to be there, and he cancelled that night. Couldn't make it. So
shame.
And what's the other one? Oh, Tiger Woods.
Oh, really?
Tiger Woods.
So sticking with the golf vibe.
Yeah, we're supposed to be shooting Tiger Woods for Nike in Dubai, and it was a tie-in with a magazine Nike shoot. And I think there was some a breakdown in communications, and dates got muddled up, and the magazine cocked it up. So we didn't do it, and the shoot fell through. And I always thought, Tiger Woods. I've shot Rory a few times, and Rory's fantastic, but you won't get another Tiger Woods.
Well, you say that you've got Seve Ballesteros in your portfolio.
Well, I guess they would be the three. Seve's great, and of course Seve's a legend, and everyone loves Seve. But I still think Tiger's
something about him.
Yeah. Just the amount of majors he won, still winning.
Yeah,
still plays.
I suppose he's a little bit like Lewis Hamilton, or they're both very similar to each other, huh? They're super driven,
and they broke through the glass ceiling of these sports to a phenomenal degree, and that's and it's just proper sportsmen. But yeah.
How about someone that you haven't shot that you'd like to, that's still obviously alive?
Ooh. I don't have any heroes in life, so I'm not like that. I don't admire people because of their fame or because of their art. I like them, but I don't,
Apart from B.B. King.
I think it's because as you get older, you recognise the fact that some people are just legends. Whether you like them or not, they're just going to be, and there will always be legends. So in 200 years' time, B.B. King will still be a legend. Whereas the lead singer of, I don't know, Backstreet Boys, no offence, but might not be a legend.
His name probably won't be ringing quite.
I don't even know who the lead singer is.
No, I have no idea either. I have no idea.
I'll post her away. but I don't know what I'd love to photograph. I guess Liam Gallagher, I think. And I have been emailing his agent, not to much luck, trying to get him on the cover of my mag.
Yeah.
But, it's hard at the moment, though, isn't it, to get anyone to do anything one-on-one.
It is, yeah.
So
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, keep on thinking then. You just, you've obviously photographed a nice number of people, so it will be interesting to see.
Obama would be great, wouldn't he?
Obama would be great.
Again, he'll always be seen as an important political figure. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the most amazing piece on Obama on social. The photographer I interviewed recently, Matt Stewart, posted this thing on his social about Obama going to visit. I think it was like a school in the US and the basketball court, and he was throwing the basketball, and he just popped it
3-pointed
in the net. You're like, oh my goodness!
All net, didn't even hit the ring. straight in.
Incredible.
I don't know anything about basketball, but that looked to me like a very good shot.
Yeah, it did. I have no idea either, but it looked very good. Just says, that's it, Obama, definitely. Okay, so Obama.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go with Obama first, second Liam.
Yes, maybe the other way around.
Really? Well, to be fair, you qualify. You've got Trump and you got Ian Brown. So you got the music and the global leaders.
Yeah, I think I'm qualified to shoot Liam Gallagher.
And you could go with Tiger Woods and chuck him in there for the sport element as well.
Do you know it's funny because I always one of my all-time kind of goals was to shoot Paul Gascoigne during his playing days, but never got to. I missed out on a shoot at Rangers once for some reason.
Oh,
I think I ended up shooting Brian Laudrup instead up there, but I got to shoot him a few years ago again, so that was quite nice.
Yes, he's in your Instagram feed, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great. I mean, tortured soul, problems. Not gonna, the guy's obviously got some demons, but what a player, what a character.
Yeah, very, very interesting person. Goodness me, he's definitely another one of those legends, isn't he? So the last question I'd like to pop past you is, we're about to go into lockdown again in the UK. It's been a pretty weird year for all of us. And I've asked this of most of my interviewees. How has I would say how has COVID affected you? But actually, I'm going to ask the question: what do you think will change forever as a result of COVID?
Ooh, big question, isn't it? I mean,
you've touched on international travel as an example.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to be careful about what I say, but I had a client wanting to send me to Southern Europe actually next week, and that fell through, and it was a nice big 8-day shoot. So those kind of jobs you have to be really. I don't know. Are they going to come back? I certainly hope so. I really do, especially the American travel, because that's my favourite place to go. But I don't know. I hope there's some benefits from it. That's why the way I like to look at it. Working from home for some people. I mean, I quite like the fact we've got quiet streets, traffic. There's less pollution. You can kind of walk through city centres, and it's hard because the working from home thing hopefully can be beneficial to some people, but in terms of photography, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? I think there's always an opportunity. So if foreign work gets taken away, that's the same for everyone. So it would mean that there would be more domestic work.
Correct.
If you see what I mean. And the shoot that I'm not doing in Southern Europe next week, somebody in Southern Europe's doing. So maybe there's a shoot. Hopefully it'll even itself out. I hope. Who knows? It's kind of like it's the biggest question right now, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And I think, not to dwell on it too much, but it's a question that's going to keep on being asked because this is clearly with us for a long time, and we're all having to change the way we do things.
But one of the positive aspects is that we haven't designed a machine yet that can go out and take photographs yet. So we still need people to go and produce great photography.
Agreed.
For whether it's for content, for entertainment, or whether it's for commercial advertising, it's still going to have to happen. I wouldn't like to be a yoga instructor right now, for example, or a jiu-jitsu instructor. These industries are struggling way more. So, I think being able to adapt is quite important too. So I find probably a lot of photographers will share the same dilemma, shooting more video and having to figure out, like we've been the video here, and clients are expecting video tagged onto your shoots now, which seems to be happening an awful lot with me. For social mainly, but often for little adverts to go out on. Exciting times. Who wants to live in boring times?
No one.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this. If you could see this, people, this is definitely very different to speaking into an iMac. That's all I can say. So, on that note, we hope that the broadcast continued to work. We had viewers, so that's all good. Let's see what comes of it when we go and check it back on YouTube. For now, it's been amazing to have James in my living room. After doing this for 28 weeks over a computer and speaking virtually to people all around the planet, it's really nice to engage with someone right here
10 minutes walk away.
10 minutes walk away. So, you know, on that note, I'm going to say a big thank you to James. I'm going to suggest that we go and have a coffee somewhere because it's beautiful and sunny outside, and let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. James, thanks very much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Thanks for coming and being my first live interviewee. Live as in person.
I'll have to fly them all in future.
Yeah. maybe we can do this more often. You know. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheerio.
So there we go. That was an amazing opportunity to have someone in the flesh, in my living room, and talk pictures with them, and their styles and their stories, as opposed to doing it through a computer screen. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. James has clearly shot some amazing people, and long may he continue to do so, COVID allowing. For now, take care of yourselves. Do go check out any of the other videos on my channel, and if you're interested, give me a shout. I might even look to feature you. Take care, and see you next time.